Clean out, get all the gummy bits out. And then we are working on a batch of 20 ornaments. This is the real last time I'll be painting ornaments. I originally had a deadline for myself for the end of day on, what day? Oh, Tuesday. But I have extended my own deadline trying to squeeze a few more ornaments in. So thank you for coming to hang out while I paint the last of this year's ornaments. And with any luck, I'll get them close to done. How are you guys doing today? Happy Friday. For those of you where the day of the week actually means something, what's that like? I don't remember. I'm okay with it, but happy Friday regardless. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm just rambling right now because I can't see the screen on my phone. I will pause in a second and come back to it. I just want to clean up some of this mess off of these paint pots. And then we'll get to painting and to chatting. I hope you guys are doing well. And I hope that if you're not doing the bestest today, that maybe sitting and hanging here for a little bit, watching me paint and ramble on as I do, maybe that'll be a nice rest for you today. Hi, Patty. Hi, Sue. Jan's here too. Hi, Jan. I have my new good luck charm sitting on my desk. Isn't he fabulous? Jan made him for me and I love him so much. Jan also spoiled me rotten. I got a bunch of other things, but she sent me some crocheted eyeballs for Audrey, and Audrey has lost her damn mind with these things. She's chasing them all over the apartment. She's completely stoned and loving life, which is wonderful. And Jan spoiled me rotten and sent me frosted cherry Pop-Tarts. We can't get frosted cherry Pop-Tarts in Canada here, folks, and they are my absolute favorite. And I am pleased to say that while I was sent a box of 12 of them, I have only eaten 4. Isn't he fantastic? And he even has a hat. When I opened up the hat, I thought it was for Audrey. But he's got a hat. Oh, I just knocked him over. Shit. Jan, I was wondering what this is for. Is this for Audrey? I don't remember what that one was for. Hi, Kim. Okay, and now I have to go fix him with his hat. His tits up right now. Hi. So here we go. Ding, ding, ding. He's so fantastic. I love him so much, Jan. I can't even begin to tell you how happy he makes me. Hi, Heidi. Oh, you got your keychains. Fantastic. That's nice that they came earlier than we expected, eh, Heidi? That's awesome. So, she sent me all kinds of goodies. And I got to eat Pop-Tarts. The frosted cherry ones, and they were so good. So now I'm trying to restrain myself and remind myself that one cannot survive on Pop-Tarts alone. So, we'll hope for the best. All right, so we are going to work on these ornaments. This is the final design. We're finishing off on all of them, these purple walking dots right now. I've got all of these white ones, and I've got some black glitter. And then I've got some of this multicolored glitter. You can really see on the backs. So we added some silver and some white glitter and some hot pink and some teal there. So I'm doing the same design on all of them. And in the center, these are going to have a paw print that looks like those. And that'll go in the center of this. So let's look at the finished design again. So it will be this, but with the paw print in the middle. And then I have paw prints still left to do on these ones. And these are all going to be inventory for, I'm doing some pop-up markets in December, one every weekend in December, starting December 4th. So I have some work to do. Oh, fantastic. Oh, thanks, Jan. I thought it was Audrey for Audrey, too. I was going to put it on her like a collar. And again, if it fits, why not? Frosted cherry Pop-Tarts. We can't get them here in Canada. Hey, Tosh, how you doing? Hi, David. All right, let's get to painting. This purple paint is really sticky, so I have to go really slow with it. So it might seem a little more tedious and a little slower going. But the goal is to make some serious progress on these ornaments tonight, because then they can hang to dry. I noticed that Jenna used the DuraClear from DecoArt as a varnish on top of her designs as well. So I find that really, really interesting. So it's something I'm definitely going to try out as well. So if you have any of the DuraClear and you have an ornament that you feel good about experimenting on to see how it works, that could be a total game changer. That's what I'm thinking and hoping that it is, because right now using multi-surface paints, it means that I need to let them fully cure for a long period of time. So this, the DuraClear, depending on how long it takes to dry and fully cure, that could be an option for a varnish if it doesn't go cloudy or bubbly or anything like that. And I wouldn't imagine that it does if Jenna is using it. So that's something just to kind of consider. Hi, Kim. Yeah, we are using the metallics. So this one is Amethyst Metallic. These are all Craftsmart multi-surface acrylics. So I'm definitely going to try that DuraClear next year. I know you guys have had some success with it, with lining the ornaments with glitter, which is super exciting. So I think I'm going to try it as a varnish. But if you guys feel like trying it, or you may have tried it already as a varnish, and I'd love to hear how you feel about that, because that could sure as hell speed up this process. Yeah, that is what she's using to seal, right? No cloudiness or streaks. Ooh, that's exciting to hear, Sue. All right, gonna have to give it a shot. Hi, Jeannie. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jackie. You need some of them, Tosh? Yeah, I think we all do. The Craftsmart multi-surface are my favorite multi-surface. So in my head, I'm like, maybe that means I won't have to use multi-surface on ornaments. I can use regular acrylics and use the varnish and not have to worry about that. And that would open up a whole new world of possibilities for paint colors to use on this sort of stuff. So very interesting ideas. Now, for anybody who's new to my lives, my name is Jamie. It's really nice to meet you. I've been doing this for about 3 years. I started drawing mandalas and was scrolling through Pinterest one day and came across dot mandalas and just was so excited to try them and have been hooked ever since. I do have a YouTube channel that is linked in my profile, and if you are interested in learning this art form, I have a tutorials playlist there that has 35 tutorials. Now they're all 2 hours in length, and they are recordings of Facebook Live tutorials that I did, but they are there if they are helpful for you. And I also have step-by-step patterns, downloadable patterns available on my website too. Again, if you're new to my lives, the only thing that we ask here is come with a sense of humor, some sarcasm, and always with the goal to lead with kindness. This is a safe space. You can come and just be here, you're in a good mood, bad mood, doesn't matter. You are welcome here. And this is a space where you can come and do what you need to do to take a breath and decompress for the day. While I'm painting, I can't see the screen on my phone. So it can come across as if I'm ignoring comments. Please know that I'm not. What I will do is I'll paint for a little bit and then I'll pause and come back and catch up on comments. And then go back to painting. So if you ask a question or leave a comment and it takes me a little bit to get back to it, please know that I'm not ignoring you. I will scroll back and try to catch up on absolutely everything. Every once in a while, something slips through the cracks and I miss it, but for the most part, I try to scroll back to make sure that I can catch up on stuff that I've missed. So I just don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you if I don't answer your question or comment right away. Especially if you can see I'm painting on screen. That's a pretty good odds that I can't see anything that's going on. So I'll pause right now and just come back in and see if I can catch up. You and Jenna are why I'm done. Oh, that's amazing, Cal. That's so awesome. So the plan for tonight, Kim, is that let's zoom out and I'll give you kind of a bird's eye view of the table. So I have 21 ornaments here. One of them is this one is not part of the 21. One of them is completely done. And I'm painting all of these with the same design. So I do kind of like an assembly line method. So I'm doing all of the purple walking dots right now until all of the ornaments are done. Then I'll go through and I'll start doing the swoops and everything on every ornament. So all of the ornaments progress at the same pace. So my goal tonight is to get through a bunch of steps on these 20 ornaments and get them much closer to looking like this by the end of the 2 hours tonight. So I'll be live until 10 p.m. Eastern. So I've got 20 ornaments that we're working on. This is the 21st. That'll be the same design. So I'm going to have, I think it works out to, I've got 5 of the black glitter, 5 of the kind of multicolored glitter. See with the teal and the pink there. And then I have 11 of the white ones. My original intention was to sit and do this design on just the 10 black ones. And then something popped into my head going, if you're going to do 10, you might as well do 20. And then I dumped out the rest of the white ones and started to realize how over my head I was. Thanks, JC. You're decompressing, Tosh? Wonderful. There was no volume? Oh, that's not good. Is it back? It's back now, though? It's incredibly relaxing, Jackie. It's the repetitive motion. You can get into a little bit of a rhythm. I find that my breathing slows down, my heart rate slows down, my mind quiets a little because I'm focused so much on this. It's definitely not for everybody, but if it looks like it would feel enjoyable to you, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Number one, it's nowhere near as difficult as I expected it to be. It takes time to develop and practice, especially more than anything, to develop different skills and learn different techniques. But the general basic part of learning these dot mandalas was nowhere near as difficult as I expected it to be. So if it interests you at all, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Hi, Chris. How you doing? How you been? Yes, you can get them in glass or in plastic. They have a lot of plastic ones in a bunch of different sizes as well. That's where I buy these ornaments. I try to wait until they've got good sales on so I can keep my costs down. And then I add the glitter to them myself. Yeah. On YouTube, it is Mandala Love Affair Canada. If you go to my profile, there is a link there that'll take you to my YouTube channel just to be on the safe side. Oh, I'm glad you're doing good, Chris. That's wonderful. And thank you very much. This is what it's going to look like at the end. And, pardon my arm, we're going to put one of these lovely colored paw prints in the center as well. So I think they're going to turn out pretty good. Thanks, Patty. And I'm going to just stop and take a quick drink for a second because I'm really thirsty. So how is everybody's week? And how is your day today? What do you guys got planned for the weekend? Anybody do some painting today? Now we need metallic paints. Yeah, you do. The Craftsmart Multi-Surface Metallics are my absolute favorite. And the hot pink in the middle, hold on, there's two favorite colors. One of them I went back to buy more and to buy some for some friends who asked me to buy them some Craftsmart paints. And they didn't have it anymore. And it's one of those ones that every time I see it, if they've got 5 bottles, I'm buying all 5 bottles because I will never be without these two colors in particular. I don't ever want to be without them ever again. The first one is pink tourmaline. When you give it a good shake, look at this color. Like, seriously. It's hands down one of my favorite paints ever. So this one is Craftsmart. Let me turn this light off again. I'm having problems with glare from this light. So there we go. So pink tourmaline in multi-surface, Craftsmart multi-surface. And then the other one is also Craftsmart multi-surface, and it's native turquoise. I will be keeping an eye on the Michaels stores, and as soon as I do get my hands on more of these, David and Sue, I will be sending this off to you. Look at that. These paints I really, really like these paints. A lot. And their satin paints are really nice too. I find they dry with a really nice finish and not typically super bubbly. Like, I like looking at these swoops and seeing how nice and smooth they are. So I've had some really, really good luck with Craftsmart paints. So if you do give them a shot, I hope you enjoy working with them. Christmas light decorations this weekend. Very nice. That's a big job. Do you go all out or do you stick with one color? What kind of decorations do you put up? Just painting and doing up some gnomies. Fantastic, Tosh. That sounds like a good weekend. Sue managed a little bit of painting, but ended up in, oh, I'm so sorry, Sue. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you were able to get some painting done, but I'm so sorry that it ended up being in pain. Thank you, Cal. Wish I had a Michaels store close. Oh, that's terrible. I wonder what shipping would be like for you if you ordered online. I bet when you do go anywhere near them, you get you make it worth it. Oh, nice color and light on the bushes. Oh, beautiful. I love Christmas lights. That used to be one of our traditions on Christmas Eve. We would go drive around the different neighborhoods and check out the Christmas lights. There's a street where I used to live, and it now takes these houses go absolutely bananas because this street is really well known. If you're from Ontario, it's Old Scugog Road in Bowmanville, Ontario, if that's familiar. But now it takes hours to get through it because there's so many people now. So the cars are literally bumper to bumper going about 2 kilometers an hour. I always like Christmas decorations. Especially the lights. Yeah, I wish I had that kind of vision and the balls because some of it I would be way too chicken to put it out there. I love it. I find it inspiring. We used to have our Christmas lights up all year round when I was growing up. They were white Christmas lights, and my dad wired them into the wiring in the house. So every time we turned on the porch light, all the Christmas lights came on. It was really easy to give directions when I was having parties. Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you so much, Friends of Florence. That's so sweet. I'm so glad you like them. I'll show you again what the design is going to end up looking like. We're currently working on this outer row of the purple walking dots. And then once this design is completely done, we're going to add one of these colored paw prints in the middle. I have a few of these ornaments and these ones available on my website. And there's some some red, green, and gold ones with paw prints. The ones that I'm working on right now are inventory because I'm going to be doing some pop-up markets in December. So I'm trying to make sure I'm good and stocked up. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you so much for the lovely comment. Mom and Dad started putting their lights up today. 6,000 lights. Wow. That must be one hell of an electricity bill. But that's so cool. They must enjoy it if they do it. You wouldn't need street lights. I hope they turn them off when people start to go to bed. It would blind you. All right, so we have 6 more ornaments to do these purple walking dots on. So I'm going to try and power through a couple ornaments here. I'm going to pause from reading comments just to see if I can kind of speed through a couple of these ornaments. I will pause in a little bit and come back and catch up though. So if you leave a comment or a question and I don't answer it right away, please know I'm not ignoring you. I literally just can't see my phone screen. So I will pause on a regular basis and come back and try and catch up on anything I've missed. Oh, stupid Audrey hair stuck in the paint or on my tool maybe. Oh, stringy, stringy. This is a Craftsmart paint, but this one tends to get a little stringy. This one's the Amethyst. All right. So I went out to the store today. I am renting some shelf space at a store in Bowmanville, Ontario. It's called Markets Ontario. And I went out to the store today because my shelf got moved. I was on a bottom shelf and it got moved to the 4th shelf, so second from the top. I did take some video. I'll post that and show you guys how it looks now. But I'm so freaking excited. I got these risers for some mugs. I took all of my Christmas mugs out. I've sold 2 mugs since they moved my shelf to a better eye view. So that's really cool. So I switched out all of the mugs and put all my Christmas ones there, put some Christmas ornaments, and I was able to get my keychains there. With my shelf on the bottom shelf before, I was really nervous about how easy it would be for a little tiny keychain to fall off of a shelf or little hands grab them sometimes and it's just part of what happens, right? It happens. Or things get dropped on the floor and kicked under cabinets, all that good stuff. So now that I'm up higher, I'm able to see a little bit more. And at that same store, I'm going to be doing 4 pop-ups where I will be able to set up an additional table and take more stuff. So if you're in the Bowmanville area, keep an eye on my stories and my posts. I'll be putting up the dates of when I'll be popping up. And if you're around, come say hi. I'd love to see ya. And there's some incredible makers at that store that have some beautiful, beautiful stuff. So if you have any Christmas shopping left, it would be a great store to go into and know that you're supporting a whole bunch of local makers, which I think is always really, really cool. Are you guys all done your Christmas shopping? Do you have a lot of shopping to do? We don't do a lot for us, so it's usually pretty quiet. All right, I'm going to scroll back and catch up on the comments here. Oh, perfect. I want to see the pictures for sure, Sue. Oh, thank you, Sherry. That's so kind of you. Thank you, Leo Lioness. Rachel, it's so funny because that's a common thing that people say is, oh my gosh, the patience. And to be brutally honest, I have to manufacture patience for an awful lot of things in my life, and this is one that I never do. I find it so relaxing that minutes just melt away. I don't feel like I have to force myself to stay sitting. But that's one of the reasons why it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to enjoy it, right? Thankfully, I don't have to manufacture any patience. It just is the most enjoyable thing I can think of to do with my time. It's the thing I would always rather be doing when I'm out doing other stuff. Doesn't matter how much fun I'm having, I'm always thinking, oh, I want to go home and paint. All right, I'm just scrolling up on the comments just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Not started yet? You either, Sue? It's really fun, Jackie. Really, really fun. Yes, very similar to diamond painting. It's very, very similar to diamond painting in that way. You can get into a rhythm, right? You get into that rhythm of moving through the piece and changing color, and it's very meditative. Kelly, the cool tool that I'm using right now is called a nail dotting stylus tool. They're double-ended. They've got these little metal balls on the end. So nail dotting stylus tools. Ah, thank you, Ms. Ritzy. I appreciate that very much. Trying to finish up some last-minute ornaments that will be stock for some of the pop-ups that I'm going to be doing in December. Now, I'm doing a pop-up on December 23rd, so these ones, because they of how long they sit to fully cure, these ones are definitely going to be for the December 23rd pop-up. So hopefully it's nice and busy, and we got lots of people out to the store. And then that's going to be the official end of the holiday season. It's going to be weird. Aren't they wonderful? Rainbows are just so happy, aren't they? I do ship to the UK, yes. Absolutely. When you check out on my website, it'll automatically calculate different shipping options for you. The only thing that I would always say is, the closer we get to the beginning of December, the higher the risk that packages aren't going to make it in time for the holiday, right? That's always the disclaimer I want to put out there and say, I'll get it. I promise I'll get it in the mail. But once the postal services have their hands on it, I don't know what's going to happen and how busy it's going to be and what restrictions might be in their way, any of that sort of stuff, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. And if you do like these ornaments that I'm painting and you want one, I can always ship one to you, and you can always purchase one. Just know that they won't ship even until December 23rd. But so they're not going to be listed on my website, but if you're interested in one of these, you can always shoot me a message. But again, they 1,000% won't make it in time for Christmas. 1,000%. Absolutely, that's okay, Jackie. Whatever you are comfortable doing. You want to interact, you interact. You want to sit back and just watch and relax, that's all good too. Thankfully, I can talk for hours and fill lots of silence. So we'll have a good hour and a half. Oh, the postal strikes. Yes. That's going to be an absolute cluster, eh? Jen, so when I'm painting with multi-surface acrylic paints, I don't thin or thicken the paints. I reserve that for when I'm painting with regular acrylics. Now, there are mediums out there that some of my friends here on the live have tried and used to thin down multi-surface paints, and they've had some success with them. Liquitex glass medium be the one that I'm thinking of here. But the thing to always remember is that it's an experiment. These paints we've been told by the manufacturer, of course there's always the workaround from the manufacturer, that adding stuff to them could impact how they adhere. So doesn't mean it will impact it, but it could. So it just kind of reminds you that it's an experiment, right? So when it comes to multi-surface, it's one of the reasons as well that I use multi-surface and I don't use a lot of glass and enamel paints, because glass and enamel paints tend to be significantly thinner, at least the ones that I've used up until this point. I don't have a huge amount of experience with them, but I hope that answers your question. Hi, Elaine. How are you doing? Oh, thank you so much, Artsy Color Splash. I get my ornaments from Michael's, but I'll also get them from wherever else I can manage to find them. But most of them come from Michael's. You want to learn, Jackie? No problem. So, I have a YouTube channel. It's linked through my bio, and there is a tutorials playlist. And there are a couple of beginner tutorials there. Now, they are 2-hour-long live recordings. They were Facebook Live tutorials that I did about a little over a year and a half ago now. And there's some beginner ones on there. And then keep spending some time on YouTube. Lydia May is who I learned from. There are absolutely scads of incredible artists that are teaching their style, their technique, how they do everything. And the biggest thing I can say is try to learn from as many different people as you possibly can. Everybody's going to have a different way of doing things, a different technique, a different preference, a different intention behind it. Learn as much as you can so that you can figure out what your style is going to be. Hi, Delilah. What kind of paint do you use? I just heard about how it adheres. So I use multi-surface acrylic paints because they are specifically designed to adhere to non-porous surfaces. These are the same paints that I will use on my mugs. Now, a friend of mine, Jenna, J. Grons, here on TikTok, she uses, and my friend Sue, who's here on the live as well, has used Deco Art Duraclear Gloss. And it worked well as a varnish and didn't leave any cloudiness. So if you're going to use something like that, you don't need to use multi-surface paints. But I've done the multi-surface up to this point. I'm definitely going to play around with that gloss and see if that can save any time and headaches for next year's ornaments. Because multi-surface paints, in order for them to fully cure, so on mugs and glass, they'll cure to be top shelf dishwasher safe, and typically you bake them. Now you can air cure them as well, and that's what I try to do for these. I want these just as sturdy as if they were glass that could go in the dishwasher. So I air cure them for 21 to 28 days. I usually err on the 28-day side just to be on the safe side. But yeah, so a gloss would definitely help. Oh, thanks, Karen. So check out the YouTube channel. Make sure you're looking at a bunch of different artists that do this as well. I go live usually 8 hours a week across my platforms. I will always put my schedule up and pin it to the top of my profile here on TikTok so that you can see where I'm going to be live and what times and everything. So and I'm happy to answer questions. Any questions that you might have during the lives. And I also have downloadable patterns, kind of like knitting patterns, where there's step-by-step instructions for some designs. So no, I don't seal these after because multi-surface will cure directly to the surface without needing a sealer. A sealer can just speed up the process. So instead of having to wait for these to dry for 21 to 28 days, I would be able to have them ready to go, put them in the mail, hang them on a tree, do whatever, however long after it takes for the Duraclear to dry. Oh, it's high gloss. I didn't know. There we go. Thank you. Duraclear high gloss varnish. Thank you, guys. You're welcome, Karen. Belly beads. Are they resin friendly? As in to mix with resin or to paint with and then pour resin over? If it's to pour resin over them, they are good. I don't know about mixing them with resin. Thank you for sharing the live, Delilah. I do bake my glassware. I do bake my mugs, my ceramics. I don't bake the Christmas ornaments, and I have very rarely done any clear glass. I will bake it, though, if I feel like the glass is sturdy enough. If I don't feel like the glass is sturdy enough, if for whatever reason, if I just don't trust myself or I don't feel it's going to be stable or I feel something's going to happen to it and makes me nervous, then I'll let it air cure. Because there's always an air curing option. So you don't have to bake it, But the air curing is usually close to a month that you need to let it air cure. You're welcome, Belly Beads. Thanks, Heather. How you doing? All right. I'm going to take a little bit of a pause from the comments for a couple minutes. I've got 3 ornaments left to finish this purple row on. So what I'm going to do, if you're new to my lives, while I'm painting, I can't see the screen on my phone. So what I will be doing is taking regular pauses and breaks to catch up on the comments. So if it takes me a minute to answer your question, please know that I'm not ignoring you. Just know that the next time I pause, I will scroll back through all of the comments to make sure that I can catch up on anything that I've missed. So I just don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you if I don't answer right away. So I'm going to kind of power through a few of these. We've got 3 left, and then we'll be able to start again going through all of them and start the swoops. Swoops are faster though. Swoops I'm much faster at. This paint is very stringy, and when the paint is stringy, so see how it's still kind of connected there? It's stringy, so you have to pull it straight up, and you tend to have to go a little slower to make sure that that paint disconnects, that little stringiness disconnects each time. Because if it's still connected and I go to place the other dot, I'm just going to create a line that connects the 2 dots, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep them separate. All right. Let's power through here. Then we get to the swoops, and that's my favorite part. I love doing swoops. I had originally intended to do this design with all dots, and I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Okay, I'll finish this one, and then I'll come back to the comments and catch up, and then we just have one more to do, and then we can start the swoops. The plastic ones are nice because I know I can set them down on the table and kind of spin them a little bit, and they're not at super high risk of getting scratched. Unless, of course, your surface is really scratchy. I mean, they'll still scratch, but I'm not as nervous with them as I am with the glass ornaments. The glass ornaments make me nervous. Glass ornaments like to jump out of my hands, too, which doesn't help. Oh, shoot. So every once in a while you get these little bits here. See how that one's kind of sticking out to the side? So I've got these nail dotting stylus tools that have the metal balls on one end, but they have these silicone brushes on the other. And I can use that to kind of push that paint. This works on mugs too. If anybody's painting mugs, that works on mugs too. Use those silicone brushes to push that paint back into that dot if you get those little stringy bits. All right, so I've got 2 more little lines here, and then I'm going to pause and come back to the comments and catch up on what I have missed. All right, let's bring this one in here, and I'm just going to scroll back really quick. Hi, Stephanie. Brooklyn, I've tried mixing in resin and it worked fine for you. Excellent. Good to know. Thanks, Brooklyn. Thank you so much, Karen. You inspire me to draw. I was looking at mandala patterns. Oh, fantastic, Delilah. Have so much fun with it. Drawing mandalas is very meditative as well, right? There's meaning and meditation to be had in all of that. Enjoy. Oh, thank you so much, Tracy. I try to, and I'm not afraid to wipe stuff off and start over. But the other thing is sometimes the things that you see like in and around here that you might not like at the time, by the time you build the design out, a lot of it'll get camouflaged, which helps a lot too. Slow and steady wins the race. Oh, thanks, Michelle. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to let me know. The paints are metallic. I am using Craftsmart Metallic Amethyst right now. So I'm using Craftsmart Metallic paints. Now, the orange and the yellow aren't really metallic because I've yet to find a pearl finish or a metallic finish in a yellow or an orange. So they're 50-50 mixes with some metallic paints or some pearl paints and some regular satin paints. So they don't have the shine like the green through the pink. So the orange and the yellow are a little bit less. For the yellow, I mixed in a really bright yellow gold and a little bit of a couple different colors of bright yellows in the satin paints. And then for the orange, I actually had a dark orange metallic that I then mixed with some brighter yellow and a bit of a lighter orange to brighten it up so that it was in there. And I think I even mixed in a little bit more gold there too. I can't remember. I think I change my mixture just a little bit every time I top up that little paint pot, so it always seems to be a little different. Oops. Let's see. Good, just waiting for your supplies so you can... Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's going to be so fun, Heather. I'm excited for you. Oh, Jackie, no. First dot project. I figured that's what you meant. Put you up to the challenge of doing a rooster. Oh, that'll be fun. And thank you, Dor. Thank you, Lori. Rachel, I'm in danger of giving this a go, but I'm afraid because I'm not good at drawing. I'm not good at drawing either. If you ask me, let me show you. This is what your thank you card would look like. Looks like when you order something from me. So I'll give you a little note card, right? And I'll sign my name at the bottom, and I'll say, love, Jamie. And I always draw a picture of my cat, Audrey, and this is the extent of how good I can draw. That's it. I can draw a tree that's not terrible, I guess. That's kind of it. One bird, then it's really fancy. You do not need to know how to draw at all. At all, at all, at all. So get that idea right out of your head. If it looks like fun, try it. You don't need to go buying any fancy tools either. You can use, I started with crochet hooks. The only set of tools that I had before I even started this were these double-ended nail dotting stylus tools, because they were also used, I used to do a lot of work with polymer clay, and I used to use these tools a lot for that. But I started with crochet hooks, wooden dowels, barbecue skewers, drills, like screws, drill bits, nails, sharpened pencils, unsharpened pencils, pencil erasers, anything that is a round and flat edge or anything that is different sizes of points can work. The rounded ends of paintbrushes work phenomenally. So you don't have to spend a lot of money if you want to give that a try. What makes the paint stringy? That's a really good question. I think it's just when it starts to thicken up. And I usually attribute it to my impatience to not mix my paints enough. But I think it depends on the age of them and stuff as well, and how much exposure they're getting to air. Some of them are just thicker than others, and it's just one of those things that happens. I haven't figured out much that really gives me a surefire way to, predict it or expect it with anything in particular. But yeah, it just happens sometimes. So if I was painting with another paint and not using multi-surface on these ornaments, if I was painting on, say, wood or stone or canvas or something, then I would add just a couple drops of pouring medium in with this paint to thin it down just a little bit. But I wouldn't do that if I'm painting on ornaments. Now, again, that's because I'm not varnishing these. I'm letting these air cure. So they're going to sit and hang to dry for almost a month. So because I'm doing that and I'm not using a varnish, I need to be careful with what paints I'm using. If you are going to use, say, the Duraclear High Gloss Varnish, then you're going to have some other freedoms, I think, for what kinds of paints you can use there. You love purple, Jackie? Purple's a great color, eh? Ah, Heather, that's so nice of you. So encouraging. Yeah, that's the same, eh, Brooklyn? It's so disappointing because you can't find a metallic yellow. I found a pearl yellow in Deco Art, but it's not multi-surface, which is the crappy part, right? But yeah, most of the time they just look gold. And then they look kind of dark and kind of dingy sometimes, and that's just, yeah, it's tough sometimes. Hi, Kim. Glad you're back. Perfectionism kept you from starting for a while, and that's the other thing to let go of. Some things are going to turn out great, and some things are going to turn out awful, and it's okay. If you're focused on, I'm doing this because I think it's fun, and not forcing yourself to sit down and power through anything that's just not enjoyable. Some days you just aren't going to have it. You're just not going to want to do it, and that's okay. But the key is just making sure you're following what's enjoyable for you, because the more enjoyable it is, the more you're going to practice. And the more you practice, the faster your skill will develop. So be okay or practice being okay with making mistakes. It's going to happen. I've been doing this for 3 years, painting almost every single day for 3 years, and I make mistakes all the freaking time. Spend some time learning how to fix mistakes, and then that will make a big difference in helping you with your confidence. There's almost nothing that can't be fixed. I was painting a guitar once, and I had a huge, like 8 square inch section that was freshly painted that I smudged my arm through, smudged the whole thing, 8 inches by 8 inches, smushed together. I cried, and then I got to work with some sandpaper and pulled all that paint off, sanded it down, repainted the base coat, and painted the design back over again. There's almost, I haven't come across too many things that aren't fixable. And if you find that it's not fixable, you walk away and try something else. You don't have to see every single thing through to the end. I use the bamboo skewers. Yes, Dor, exactly. They work great. I just bought some and it was stringy. Yeah, that's usually my guess is once it ages a little bit, Stephanie, that's kind of has the issue with the stringiness and the thickness. Hey, Kim. Thanks, Karen. Become an addiction. Yay. Those are my favorite words. I loved it so much that it became an addiction. It's my therapy. It's my social life. It's become so valuable in my life. And the fact that anybody has watched me and decided to pick it up and give it a try, that's the best thing I think I could ever hope for. That, and you guys knowing that this is a safe space to come and just be yourselves and have whatever kind of day you're having, and know that you can come here and ask for some love. That's a big one too. But hearing that you saw me and you decided to give it a try, that's amazing. And again, there are so many incredible artists out there that are happily and really, really excitedly sharing their techniques and their work. Learn from as many different people as you can. Thank you, Tiger Eyes. Hello, Bree. How you doing? I'm so glad you put by Bree at the end of your name. That helps so much. That line you're doing, do you put pressure on it to make it smaller? No. If anything, I take the pressure off. So as I move and drag this down the surface, less and less paint is coming. So I'm not pushing any harder. I'm really kind of keeping fairly uniform pressure the whole time. And then just finishing that off. So we're going to do 19 more of these with these white swoops. Now let's see what we can do. I only have acrylic matte. Some are not multi-surface. How important is it to use multi-surface? If you can have some, well, here's the thing. I think it depends on your customer, number one. I think if you say, hey, these are hand painted, you need to be incredibly delicate with them or the paint will peel off if you're not careful. I think you can use any kind of paint that you want. Also, if you're going to use some kind of a varnish, that can make a difference as well as to what kind of paints you use, right? Because if I'm using a varnish on this that's going to help seal them, then I don't need to worry about the kind of paint. But I haven't used any varnishes. The only thing that I can share with you is the what I've heard from other people on this live about the Duraclear High Gloss varnish. That's what another friend of ours, Jenna, uses, and it works really, really well. So the other part of it is I've seen a lot of artists out there that do what I suggested at the very in the first example is, listen, these are hand painted with acrylic paints, you know, they are fragile and need to be treated with the utmost of care and maybe just making sure that they're extra dry before you give them out to anybody. I think that would be totally fine. I think it's all about the expectation as well and who you're giving them to and where they're going. Nothing like it's just a matter of durability. That's really the only thing that's impacted. And I can't tell you that regular acrylics don't work because I've never tried it. I've always been on the paranoid side assuming that it wasn't going to work, but I want to try it. And I want to try the varnish and see what that does for it as well. Thank you, Tori, for the rose. That's so sweet. That's a lovely thing to say. We need more. We do, don't we, Rachel? More kindness. That's why you got to be able to lead with kindness as best you can here. It's the only thing, one of the few things that we ask in this little family of ours that we're building. And we're happy you're here. I think these lives are just as good as therapy sessions sometimes. We get into some good topics and the cheerleaders in this little family of ours and the number of people who are stepping out of their comfort zones and trying different things, whether it's dot mandalas or not, right? Whatever it is that you're trying, if you're trying to step out and do something different, follow some of the joy, and then that is what we do here. We like to have fun. And it can be done in a kind way, right? I love the look of those drags, but I can't seem to get them perfectly straight. Okay, so there's a couple things that can be impacting that. And some of it might just be the speed that your body is comfortable going at, right? If I try to make myself go too slow, my hands twitch, right? So if I know I'm going to have to go really slow, I really, really focus and I slow down even more. But I know that the slower I go, the bigger the risk of my hands twitching is going to be. And I just kind of take that risk. And if it doesn't turn out straight, you can wipe it off and do it all over again. Slowness is the key. If your body will allow you to go slower, slow down. If your swoops are not turning out the way that you want them to look, first thing I will always tell you is to try going slower. Oh, that's so nice of you to say, Stephanie. Thank you. That's so lovely. The pink pointy tool, really good question. Okay, so this is something I got in a set of 2 tools at Dollar Tree. This is a scoring tool, and this is a puncture tool. So you get the 2 different sizes. I use this one all the time for popping bubbles, for pulling paint into the shape of swoops. So I don't always do the drag method. Sometimes I'll just shape it with one of those tools. And one of the best tools that I've ever gotten. So when I got them anyway, a little over a year and a half ago, they came in a set of 2. They were in the craft aisle, and a puncture tool and a scoring tool in the same package. I always tell myself art doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's enjoyable and no rush. Exactly, Heather. The whole reason we're doing this is because we thought it would be fun, right? So that's the first thing we need to focus on. If it's not fun, then we need to evaluate our reasons why we're doing it. And there's lots of other great reasons, right? But it's that awareness of where we're going. Have I tried the glitter acrylic paints? I haven't, and I have found them really difficult to create really round dots with. I found that especially if it's the chunky glitter, that doesn't seem to work with me. Now, I know a lot of darters that do use it, but I haven't practiced with it much. I think it would be something that would take a little bit of practice, though, if you're dealing with big chunky stuff in there. You're most welcome, Tiger Eyes. Oh, thank you, Kelly. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. I'm so glad. For anybody who's new here, my name is Jamie, and it's really nice to meet you. Thank you for coming and hanging out. All of my links to all of my stuff, whether it's downloadable patterns, my YouTube channel, my website where I sell my stuff, all that stuff is in my bio. And I just really appreciate you coming to hang out with me while I'm painting inventory for craft shows. I'm doing 4 craft shows in September. No, not in September. In December. So I'm trying to fill up the inventory. Sometimes I just caught myself. I was completely holding my breath for that one. That one came out straight there. Yeah, I think the glitter paint could work, Heather. I just don't know. I haven't had a lot of luck with it, and I haven't gone back to it just because I haven't had the patience to try it again. Even though we think it looks a little off, I find that others totally, Dora, 100%. The things that we see and that we can't unsee, other people look at it like, what are you talking about? I don't see that at all. And that's a hard thing to remember, right? I've been lucky that a bunch of you guys have reminded me about that a lot. Like, just because I see something doesn't mean other people are going to see it. Everybody's going to see things completely different. And a lot of people make the great point, too, is that the whole idea of having something handmade is that it's not perfect, right? I gave up making cards and jewelry because when the fun is no longer there, right? You have too much pressure on yourself and the fun goes away. Yeah. That's how you know it's something to either keep for yourself or something to move on from, right? All depends. Yeah, it would totally make you lose interest for sure. Bree, works better for top dots. Okay, that makes sense. Better for accent. Okay, cool. That's good to know. You seem so nice. I try to be. Not always. I promise I'm human. I can be a real bitch sometimes. Hi, Marilyn. And you're most welcome. I'm happy to share. Happy to share. The more people spending time doing something that they enjoy, I think that is, again, whether it's dot mandala painting or anything else, whatever that thing is, if hours disappear and you enjoy it, I don't believe at all that is ever wasted time. I think that is time that is good for the soul and time very well spent. And I'm grateful that you guys let me come here and do this, because this is good for my soul too. And you guys are good for my soul. Oh, that's so nice to hear. I try so hard not to be sometimes. But it comes out, right? And you guys do a wonderful job of creating that. That's the thing. I'm just sitting here painting, and I'm trying my best, and you guys just nurture this community so wonderfully, and so wonderfully that I feel completely safe to feel whatever I'm feeling as well. You know, the number of times I've come on here and had total emotional breakdowns, valuable ones, and you guys have given me that safe space to do that, to work through some feelings and some thoughts that were really, really heavy. If I can contribute any of that back, I'm happy. Oh, I'm so glad, Marilyn. How many different dotting projects do you have going on at one time? I have a few. Yeah, a few. Sure. A few. I have one project that I started 2 years ago and still haven't finished. Oh no, I'll beat that one. I've got a canvas that I started in fall of 2019. Yep, haven't finished that yet. I've got a hurricane vase that I started in end of 2020. Yeah, I've got a lot. I'm guessing that if I was to go through and really look at the stuff that I know that I want to pick up and finish, because that's a different one, right? An abandoned, unfinished project is totally different than one that's sitting around with me having the intention of picking it back up too, right? So ones that I actually will know that I will pick up and finish again, I'd say I've got 6 or 7 at least. And that doesn't count the ones that are waiting around for guidelines to be removed, waiting for the background colors to be touched up and to be varnished and or resined. Yeah, that doesn't count those ones. It would be a really long list. No, it is definitely not just you, Tor. Rachel, it's 2 here, but I'm so transfixed I don't want to go to sleep. Well, I don't want you to have insomnia because of this. Hopefully it'll help you relax. My trouble is I never stick to one project, running out of space in my craft room, and that's a real thing, especially because I find there's a lot of times where I need to work on one thing and then I need to set it aside and let some paint dry, right? Whether it's for ornaments because I have nowhere left to grab onto it and hold onto it without smudging a bunch of paint. There's so many different reasons for that, and constantly putting stuff aside. And yeah, I was not prepared for the amount of storage space I would need just for those projects that were on hold while they dried. They can run away with you. And then I've got projects that I've had to abandon. I've got one that it was a 12-inch wood panel, and I finished about a 5-inch design of it, created a pattern. The pattern's actually on my website. It's called Quest. It's one of my favorite paintings and designs I've ever done. And I had the intention to continue on past the 5 or 6-inch design and fill up the rest of the wood panel, the 12-inch wood panel. I custom mixed all the colors, and I have no idea what colors I began to use to mix it. I might be able to figure it out a little bit by looking at the pattern because some of the paints would be listed there, but figuring out what mixtures, I really don't believe that I'd be able to. I might be able to mix really pretty colors now with those mixtures, but I don't think I'd be able to mix it exactly again. So that kind of stuff happens a lot too. I forgot who it was, but I saw someone use some type of floor product. Yep, I do that as well. I use Quick Shine floor polish. Polyacrylic also works, and so does the Duraclear high gloss varnish. So nice to be in a craft chat that is not judgmental towards other artists. There is so much room out here for everybody, right? You be kind, you try and learn as much as you can, you support other artists, you give credit. I think that's the biggest thing that I found so surprising is how willingly and quickly people will say, hey, I created this design after watching Delicate Dots Andrea's video, and they tag you in it, they tag her in it, and just how quickly people do that. I love it because I get to see the stuff that you guys have painted when it happens, but it's so freaking respectful. It's such an incredible community. I'm still blown away by it. Were you saying, do I sell these online, Karen? I do. These particular ornaments won't be available on my website, but I do have some ornaments that are up on my website right now. They're getting a little bit more picked over, and I did take some of them into the store today, but I think I still have a good 10 or 15 on my website. All of my links are in my profile. And the link that's in my profile will take you to my YouTube channel, to my Redbubble store, to my website where all my hand-painted stuff is. So all the information that you could possibly need for where to find my stuff is right in that link, all in one nice little spot. Yeah, some of them can be really judgmental, and I don't understand it. Yeah, so I use Quick Shine Floor Polish. I'm just scrolling back to catch up here. I go through phases of what I'm in the mood to work on. That too, right? You might pick up something and yesterday be really super inspired by it, and today pick it up and say, I've got nothing. Sometimes you just have to set them aside and see if they talk to you again. I'm glad you did too, Karen. And a master of none. Well, we've seen that TikTok going around, have you? Where it says, they wish people knew the entire phrase, that it's not, what is a jack of all trades is a master of none, but the rest of the phrase is actually, but is still always better than a master of one. Try as many different things, because you never know which is going to be that thing. And we're told that we have to pick the thing that we're interested in, and it's like we have to cling to it until we die. No, try all the things. Try as many of the things that sound fun to you. And if it means a new business every 5 years because your ideas change, or if it means just doing something different, do it. Just do it. This is slowing down because of all these stinking bubbles. That noise you hear is me wiping that puncture tool on my sweater, which I now realized is not one of my painting sweaters. It's one of my go out and be around people sweaters. So I now have paint on it. There's no such thing as non-painting clothes. Some of you are very disciplined and go home and put your play clothes on before getting into painting. And I think all of my clothes are play clothes now. I have no go out and be in public clothing anymore. Trying to remember the colors I've made. Yeah, that's tough. It's really, really tough. Especially when you put stuff aside, right? And then have to come back to it. And you're like, where did I put the paint pots? Did I label them properly? Did I keep them? Did I pour stuff back in the bottle? Which bottles did I use? This looks like the one, but is it? Oh, it's too much. Too much. Thank you, Patty. You're welcome, Karen. It's totally all about the fun, right, Michelle? All about the fun. Still working on your first diamond art picture you started a year ago. Yeah, and that's okay. Pick it up whenever it seems interesting to you, and if it doesn't, find something else to play with. I've been crafting over 60 years. My interests have changed a million times. Yes, Marilyn. Totally. Try all the things. If it sounds interesting and fun, right? Because the goal isn't to pick a thing to do. The goal is, how can I have more fun today? Or how can I just have more fun in my day? And that's going to look different every day. That's influenced by what's going on in our lives. It's influenced by what our peers are doing. It's influenced by what just pops up on our social media feeds and gives us ideas. Right? Focus on the joy. And if it sounds like fun and you have the means, give it a shot. I find that when the tool, if I'm popping bubbles, if the tool is dry, the bubble will pop easier. That will break the surface tension that's there. So if you're having a difficulty popping your bubbles, check to make sure the tool that you're using is dry on the end. That'll help. Oh, I'm glad that's helpful. Glad that's helpful, Karen. All right, I need to take a quick drink. Oh, that's good. I haven't been drinking regular Pepsi lately. I've been really pleased with myself. I used to live off of regular Pepsi, and I've since at least switched to diet. And, but I let myself buy some regular Pepsi at the dollar store yesterday. And I'm drinking it now, and it's, when you haven't had it in a while, it's got one hell of a kick. Damn, it's good. Come on, get out of there. Fine, screw you. I also have a very bad habit of holding, so I drag the tool with this one, then I put this tool in my mouth, and then I grab the puncture tool. It's not sanitary. I don't recommend it. My Nana, who passed away last year at 98, was a crafter. Oh, that's wonderful, Rachel. That's so wonderful to hear. You do more for a hobby, not a small business. That's nice. Every once in a while, get a little cash in to fund your habit. That's lovely. Gonna try ornaments. Yay! Oh, record albums. I've bought some, and I've always been intimidated of how the grooves in the album are going to impact the dots. And I've had a bunch of people tell me that it's nothing to worry about, but I still have been gun-shy to try it. I'll have to put that on my list for next year. We're doing, we do a challenge in the Facebook group that's called the Paint That Thing Challenge. For those of you who are members of the group, do you see how many entries we have in there already? So cool. I guess tagging everyone in the post was what I was missing before. I'm learning that tag at everyone for the entire group, and it's making a difference. We got a whole ton of entries. So we do this challenge called the Paint That Thing Challenge, and it's, you know, what's that thing that's been staring at you, that technique that you've been wanting to learn. So one of those that things for me, for example, is learning how to do swoops with brushes. That's going to be one of those things for me. So we do one of those challenges that people can, you know, paint that thing and then tell us a bit of a story about it. And I'll have to add the record albums to my list for that for next year too. Karen's headed to bed. It was wonderful to see you, Karen. Thanks for coming to hang out, and I'll look forward to hanging out with you again soon. I haven't tried Nitro Pepsi. The group is called Mandala Addicts by Mandala Love Affair. I believe I have it linked through all the links in my bio too. I think. The one thing to know about the Facebook group is make sure that you answer the questions and say that you have read and agree with all of the rules. We have an auto system set up in the group, so as long as you answer all those questions and say, yes, I understand the rules, then you won't have to wait for my slow ass to go in there and approve your request. It'll do an auto approve for you. I spray a coat of color to keep it black, and the grooves are gone enough. Oh, that's good. That was always my worry, is what if the paint slides into those grooves, right? That's really good to know. Thank you for that. I will add those to my list. I think I have 10 or 12 of them. I'd always, the people that I painted the guitar for is a couple of artists in Markham, Ontario called Funky Upbeat Designs. And they upcycle these ornaments into these absolute masterpieces, drums and guitars, instruments. That's what I was trying to say. And we always talked about doing some fairs together at some point in the future and have me paint records while they're selling their drums. It would be kind of neat. Definitely something I want to try. I've been wanting to try some bigger pieces again too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with those. So many things on the list. So many things sitting on shelves and in cupboards waiting for their turn to be painted. Okay. Making headway though. See if I can zip through a few more of these ones. Getting lots of bubbles. Mm-hmm. So when I'm doing these swoops, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a purple magenta that is a mix actually of the amethyst and the pink tourmaline. And it's going to give me this mid-range in between the pink and the purple. And we're going to start with that on the left side. And then we're going to work our way back to the purple on this side. So what I'll do is I will start with the yellow and work my way that way. And then I'll start with the green and work my way that way. But with 20 ornaments, it takes a little time. I'm not getting enough paint on here at the beginning, so it's, that one's, ugh. Let's get rid of you. Let's try that again. So my goal for the live tomorrow, I'll be going live from 1 until 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Instagram. Something crazy's happening on my Instagram too. Like in the last week and a half, I've gone up like 1,200 followers on Instagram. I'm about to hit 20K, and I don't understand what the hell's happening. I mean, it's super friggin' exciting, and it's wonderful. And I know that in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean shit. But it's still really cool. It's still really neat to think. I'm climbing up there. It's happening. But I'm going to be live tomorrow on Instagram from 1 to 3 p.m. And I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be painting yet. I have some little trinket dishes that I want to paint and then eventually put some UV resin on to seal them. So we might work on those a little bit. Or we might work on a candle holder. I'm taking Mom to go see Dad tomorrow morning. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have any time to do any painting tomorrow morning. We might be finishing off these ornaments tomorrow, for all I know. That's probably the most likely scenario, which is fine. You know, we'll finish off ornaments this week and we'll get on to painting other stuff next week, but that's probably the likelihood. So if you're around tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m., come hang out with me on Instagram and know that I'll still be painting ornaments, even though I've been saying for a long time that I was going to be done ornaments on Tuesday. Here it is, it's Friday and I'm still painting ornaments. That's okay. It'll be fine. Come on. Sometimes it's not a bubble. But sometimes you gotta zoom in and try and find the bubble. Be the bubble. Pop the bubble. Yeah! Sorry. All right. I'm going to do these 2 remaining swoops on this ornament, and then I'm going to pause for a second, and I'll come back into the comments and try and catch up on anything that I've missed. Slow and steady wins the race when it comes to swoops. If your swoops aren't turning out the way that you want them to, the first thing I will always recommend to people who ask me what to do next is to slow down. However slow you think you're going, go slower. Go as slow as your body will allow you to, and just take your time. This can help you create longer swoops because you're having the paint make contact with the surface a little bit longer. Okay. Let me scroll back here and I'm going to catch up on what I missed. Marilyn, yes, this is a 3-inch ornament. Karen, I looked at your links. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm so glad you like it. Thank you, Karen. My YouTube channel is linked through my bio as well. There is a tutorials playlist in there that has 35 2-hour-long tutorials. So that is there if that's helpful for you. And I've got some downloadable step-by-step patterns available on my website as well. So if you're looking to learn this, and again, you know, you don't have to get all kinds of fancy tools. The tutorials there on YouTube, and try to learn from as many different people as you possibly can. There's no one right way to do this, right? So learn different techniques. Everyone's going to have a slightly different way of doing this. And that's just more beautiful because then that means it really is up to you how you want to do it. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we're halfway done. How are we doing for time? 9:23. All right, let's see what we can get done. How long it takes to get these ones done. These 10. And then we can start on the next color of swoops. Yay. Sometimes to make your swoops longer, you can, when you put the paint down, like here, you don't have to start dragging from there. You can kind of just push the paint down and then start your drag from a little bit lower. It can sometimes help you stretch it out a little bit. All right. 1, Two, I need to fix my cloth so I have somewhere to wipe off my tools. Okay. You and glue guns are not compatible. I thought watching TikToks of kittens was relaxing until I found this. That's so sweet, Rachel. Thank you. The spacing, size of dots, so they all work out right. Yes. And that, honestly, I wish I could tell you a formula. It's going to come with practice. I always try to err on the small side. Because if it's too big, it can cause a real mess. If I choose the wrong size and go too big. So I always go smaller than I think I'm going to need and then confirm it. Because also remember too that with the same size tool, you can create many different shapes and many different sizes of dots, right? Just by changing the amount of paint you've got on there. So for a little while, until you really get to know your tools and you kind of get into a rhythm of how your pieces normally progress, really get into some experimentation. Try it with the intention of, I'm going to try it and see if I like it. If it's not the right size, I'm going to wipe it off and I'm going to try again. And maybe even write some down. That could be really helpful for you to know where you go back to, or you might remember on a design that you did and say, what size tool did I use on that one again? Because it turned out really, really well. Write it down. If you're happy with how it looks, try and write it down. And, oh, I missed a whole purple swoop there. And then you'll find that you use certain tools more often than others. Like I've got my go-to tools that I use way more often than any of the others. Especially when I'm painting certain things, right? Like if I'm painting keychains, I have a much smaller tool size grouping that I'm going to be pulling from because the keychains are so small, right? As opposed to if I'm painting a large canvas and I want to access all of the paints, all of the tool sizes, that can be really difficult too. It's really just about practice and experimentation, Cal. I wish there was a formula I could give you. Hi, Kim's back. Yay. Definitely getting practice. Yes, that's a wonderful thing. When you get to the point where you're like, oh, well, so I redo it if it doesn't work out. That's okay, right? There's so much freedom in that feeling. Say, it doesn't matter if it works out the first time. It doesn't even have to work out the fifth time. I can wipe it off and start all over again. So when I was doing the mugs, I would have to wipe off center dots. Oh my God, putting just the center dot on a bunch of mugs takes me so long, and I'm constantly redoing it. Some of these ornaments, I redid them a few times and they were still off center, and I just said, fuck it, I'm going to keep going anyway. Who cares? I don't have the patience to redo it again. That's what's hard about giving away the ornaments. I'm not sure that I can recreate them. Take photos. Take a picture of the tools that you use, write them down. You will get to that point, I promise you, where you'll be able to and say, oh, well, I bet you that was a size 2, or you'll start to recognize and really kind of be able to pick those ones out. And you'll get into patterns of, well, in the first row, I either used this one, or this one, so I'll try with this one, and if it doesn't look like the picture, then I'll try a different one, right? I think you'll be able to do that better than you think you will. But do whatever is going to make your life as easy as possible so that frustrations are minimal, right? I have a mug base painted right now that I keep procrastinating on to you. Conflicting ideas or no idea popping up yet? Sometimes that can be hard too, just having too many ideas and not knowing where to start, right? Ooh, I just about knocked over that whole thing of paint. Okay. I didn't think the white would show up so nicely on the white glitter ornament, but I think it works. I feel like I'm breathing really heavy and loud today. Is it distracting? I just know I'll have to wipe it 20 times before I get a start. And there's that too. Sometimes you got to ramp yourself up. And it was funny because I was thinking, what am I going to paint after ornaments? Like, number one, I don't care if I see another ornament for another 6 months. Totally fine. And the first thought in my head is, no, please don't make me paint mugs, because I just really didn't want to do it. So yeah, and that's going to change every single day. And that's the other reason why there's all kinds of unfinished projects all over the place, right? Oh, that's a wonderful idea, Cal. You can't hear me at all? Can anybody hear me while I'm talking now? We lost volume earlier today. If you can hear me, please comment. Please let me know in the comments if you can hear me. You can? Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. We've been having some little glitches here and there. I think the internet's been a little bit of an a-hole. But I'm glad that you can hear. Wonderful. Hopefully that was just a temporary glitch for you there, love. You had to go out and... Are you good now, Kim? You can hear me okay? Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's not even noticeable? Okay, good. Do you ever catch yourself, though, and you sit there and you're breathing and you're like, oh my God, I sound like I'm dying. I don't know if it's a cold. I don't know if it's a flu or if it's just all in my head. So I'm so glad. Because I don't know, something... It's sticking out to me for some reason. I sound like I'm winded. I feel like I sound like I'm winded. All right. 8 more. Let's go. This white pearl can be really stringy too, but I find it's more bubbly than anything, that once when you have to mix it up, and any paint is like that, right? That you're going to get bubbles when you stir it and mix it up. But the white pearl, I find that those bubbles don't really take care of themselves. And a lot of other paints, they'll rise to the surface and kind of start to pop on their own after a little bit of time. But this white pearl does not seem to like any of that. It's kind of fighting all of it. It can be stringy. It doesn't like to cooperate all the time. You're answering my question? Okay, good. Thanks, Kim. Sorry. When I made jewelry, I was good at knowing what colors went together. It feels nice when you put a bunch of nice colors together, right? And you get proud of yourself. So much cool stuff. Thanks again so much. You don't hear me breathing either, Marilyn? Okay, awesome. Good. Thanks, guys. I'm glad that that's good. Oh, Miss Audrey is good. She's sitting right next to me, actually, if you'd like to say hello. She's asleep on her blanket next to me, on her hoodie. Hi, Audrey. Nothing. I was gone a lot today, so I'm being punished. She wants to be near me, but she doesn't like to look at me or talk to me right now. Executing the design that you struggled with. Maybe just have some fun putting some color patterns together, right? Maybe that's where you start. Just say, I'm just going to put a whole bunch of different color patterns together. And then sometimes that can almost give you ideas for where you want to go with the design. And the other part of that is when it comes to putting a design together, you can let fun be the signal there too, right? You don't feel like doing swoops? Don't do them. You don't have to add swoops. You don't feel like doing walking dots? Don't add them. You don't have to do walking dots anywhere. Just play with that stuff. Yes, Miss Audrey's pretty fantastic. And her ears are perked up and so are her whiskers. So I know that she hears me talking about her to you. But she's just choosing to ignore. I didn't get home until almost 4 o'clock today, which is unusual for me to be gone that long and to be gone that late in the day. And I guess she read my mom the riot act for not giving her any food while I was gone. Not good at coming up with designs, but I'm pretty good at executing. Nice. So you just need to kind of be given a starting point and then you're good. Yeah, she's pretty cute. I think she's still tired out from the catnip toys that Jan sent her. I'm telling you, that was premium stuff in there. Premium catnip in those toys. Yeah, she is. She's totally giving me the silent treatment. She's like, I want to be with you, but don't talk to me. Getting a little bit of a temper tantrum today. Stupid bubbles. Slowing me down. I'm not popping bubbles anymore. Screw it. Unless they're really big and really in the way. Screw the bubbles. They're staying. Well, that one looks perfect. Look at that. That one's just lovely. Oh, thanks, Olivia. I know, right? Mom would be walking out to the kitchen or walking to the bathroom and Audrey would just be sitting there. Meh. Meh. Audrey has the habit now, and I've got to get it on film one of these days, where she goes to the cabinet in the kitchen and she headbutts. Like, do you ever see those turtles where their heads pop, like they push their head out of their shell and they headbutt stuff? She does that with the door to the cabinet where her food is. And as most of you have seen, she's not a slight cat. Like, she could go a couple of... she could skip a couple of meals and probably be all right, you know? But, come 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day, you hear thud, thud. What's Audrey doing? Oh, smashing her head against the counter. That's great. It must be better in Florida, Christine. Your cat does that too? Or she'll come in and she'll meow and then lead you to the kitchen like, oh, finally. They're so funny. This is my first experience owning a cat, so I'm quickly learning that all of my cat people friends that I used to think were just terribly dramatic, and that can't be what living with a cat is actually like. You're just being dramatic and telling stories. That was my honest to God belief for a long time, and then I had a cat, and I'm like, oh no, this is all real. This is all real, and it's so much bigger than anybody ever told me. But she's a damn delight. I'm so glad she's here. My cat was so scared of the dark, she'd skip all of the steps and beat me to the top. Oh my God. I need to put a handle for her mom, totally. Oh yes, they were completely correct. Oh, she totally owns me. I have no control at all. Any control that I have is her allowing me to think I have that control. Like, none of it's actually me. I've come to terms with that. My life is no longer my own. All right. Well, this is going to feel good to get this stuff done. And then hopefully tomorrow on Instagram, we can finish these off. That would be really, really freaking fun. I'm not worried about the paw prints. I can put the paw prints on kind of anytime. The white base dot is the one that needs to adhere to the surface. Anything I put over top of that really just needs to adhere to the dot below it, right? So I can do And I don't need to let it cure for the same amount of time for the top dot on this one because I'm not baking them and it's not drinkware or anything. It'll adhere and be fine. So I'm going to add the paw prints. Those probably won't be tomorrow. I'll probably do those quickly by myself on Sunday. And then see what else we can get started. Coming up on December 1st or 2nd, if you have one of the Dot Mandala inspiration decks, we will be doing a live this month, and it will be during the day, Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Time, this time for our friends across the pond. Trying to mix up those timetables, and the last couple of months it hasn't worked out well to change it up for different time zones. And yeah, and I'll post my schedule on Sunday or Monday. Audrey is wearing a hoodie. Are these, I'll get back to that. Are these for an order? No, I am doing some pop-up markets in December. And so this is going to be inventory for those. I'm doing 4 pop-ups at the store in Bowmanville where I currently rent some shelf space to sell some of my mugs. I've got keychains and ornaments there today. I went today and switched it all up and stocked her up. So I'm doing 4 pop-ups there. So these are going to be inventory for those pop-ups. My first one is on December 4th. The 4th, the 9th, the 18th, and the 23rd, I believe. So these particular ornaments that I'm working on now will be part of the the pop-up on the 23rd because they need a good chunk of time to dry. Now on to the Audrey hoodie question. Yes, Audrey is wearing a hoodie that I made out of a pair of leggings and some moleskin. She has a spot that she started to scratch on the back of her neck. Of course, right where a collar would sit or a cone would sit. And she scratched it to the point, she pulled all the fur out and she scratched it down to the point where she was maybe 1 layer of skin away from slicing right through her back. And now she's not scratching as much as she used to. So I made her the hoodie to keep her from scratching. And now she doesn't scratch as much as she used to. But that spot is not growing hair back. So I'm still so nervous that she's going to hook into that skin somehow. And I know it's tougher now that it's scar tissue and all of that sort of stuff. But it keeps her from scratching. Now, I want to try and find, like, you know, the puffy vests, and they don't come down with an elastic at, I guess, what would be the waistband. I need to find her something like that because these leggings are cutting in behind her arms, in the armholes that I cut. So I'm keeping an eye. I found a couple Etsy cat clothing makers that I might reach out to see if I can get her something else made. Something that's just going to sit on top of her like a hoodie or a vest of some kind and still be high up enough in the neck so that she gets, like, I need like the Fonzie collar on there and the popped collar. She had a hoodie that when she wore it, one of the previous versions of her hoodie, it looked like it had a popped collar all the time. So I kept calling her my little douchebag because I kept thinking, you look like one of those little douchebag college kids with the popped collar. So I used to call her my little douchebag because of it. Almost felt like we should applaud when you're done. You gotta, yay, Tracy, how you doing? I don't remember what I was saying what the color of the hoodie? I don't remember what I was saying there. Hang on a second. I'm going to do these last whites. Oh, and I've got 2 more ornaments to do white swoops on, and then I will catch up on comments before we say goodbye. So yeah, so Miss Audrey has been through it. The vets have tried medications. The vets have tried changing her food, going with prescription food. The medicated baths that I do give her, they do seem to help quite a bit. And now we have found a groomer that will file her nails. So at least when she scratches, they're nice and short and dull. So once they start getting sharp and turning into those little razor blades again, then I take her in there. So she's only been there twice so far, but my goodness, it's made such a big difference, and it certainly turns me into less of a worrier. I'm not having to watch every single move she makes as much, because I know that, I need to let her scratch because it's part of natural grooming for her. But every time I hear her scratch, I'm like, stop it! Stop it! Because I'm so afraid of what's going to happen. But so the hoodie helps, the bath helps, and especially the nail filing helps. And eventually I'll get her a new hoodie that I envision something that's like I figure like those little raincoat vests that have the reflectors on them. I don't know why that's what I'm picturing in my head, but has like, does up underneath her belly or something, and then it just goes straight out over her bum and doesn't like pinch in with fabric or anything. We'll see what happens, but she's okay. And the hard part is that it has to have a high neck, and it has to have a neck that is not movable, and it's hard. I looked at some of the sweaters and the turtlenecks that you can get for like Sphynx cats, and I thought about those at first, and I thought, well, they'd have to make it huge because Audrey's way bigger than a Sphynx cat. She's way chunkier. And there would need to be some kind of reinforcement in the neck so that she couldn't move the neck out of the way and get at the spot, or she couldn't scratch through the fabric. So I'm sure there's modifications to do there at some point, right? Just got back from workout. Well done, Tracy. Oh, thank you for coming and hanging out, Laura. I've thought of that with a small coat. If it's a hoodie, she won't wear it, and I haven't found anything that had a high enough neck yet. That's been the real clincher. I even went online and looked for cat polo shirts, thinking I could reinforce one of those collars with like some moleskin or something. But I haven't found anything that had a high enough collar that it looked like it would actually sit in the right spot. I have a feeling that I'll probably have to eventually get something custom made. The first one I ever tried, I went and they said, go and buy a t-shirt, a kid's t-shirt, and put that over her, and that'll, instead of having to go out and buy something super expensive. And I got her a t-shirt that, by looking like, cats that weigh this much, or, most cats fit into this size. I did not measure properly because she practically busted through it. It was so funny. And I felt so bad for her because she looked so humiliated too. But we'll find a solution. And for now, the nail trimming seems to be the best solution of all of them. And I need to get more regular with her baths, though. And that gives her time out of the hoodie. I always give her a good chunk of time out of her hoodie when I do a bath for her so that she has that time. So we're getting close to that being time again. But we'll see what happens. All kinds of options out there. I've got a friend who's a seamstress too, who's just in the middle of moving. But I've picked her brain a couple of times, and we've got a couple ideas. It's just a matter of having the time to get measurements and time for her to do it because she's crazy busy. But the nail trimming seems to be the golden ticket right now. We have a PetSmart. I could, but I'd still have to attach it to something because unfortunately where all the cones hit, this spot is right in the middle of her neck, and the cones all hit right, and they kind of slice right through the middle of this patch. So I'd still have to attach it to something. I'd have to attach it to a shirt that she wouldn't be able to move it around. But I also don't want it to be hard. I want it to be soft if I possibly can. Because she has to wear it all the time, right? Yeah, I just need to add something to it. I just would need to add something to the turtleneck. And I am tapped out of creative resources for sewing. So we're good for now. I'll look at different ideas and we'll see what happens. But I need it to be soft. I can't do anything that's going to be a hard cone and uncomfortable for her. For a little while I took socks. And so instead of making people were putting their cats in like these donuts, right? These soft inflatable donuts. And I mean, she does well, but I don't want her to have to wear that every single day, right? Yeah. When it's something that we're kind of settling into the fact that this is going to be something that she's just going to wear almost every day, I think that I need to find an option that's going to be as comfortable for her as I possibly can. All right, we got 10 minutes, so let's do some yellow swoops and see if we can get through any of these. Yeah, there's lots of different options. It's just a matter of going out and experimenting and seeing what the different things are, but I have a feeling it'll end up being a custom jobby soon. Now, what one did I use? Did I use this color, this size? No, I did not. I used smaller size. Yeah, I'd like to find something that allows her to be as close to a normal cat as I can possibly help her be, right? My ultimate goal is to eventually, pay for allergy tests, figure out what the heck is going on with her, and make sure that I can create the best possible environment for her, but it's just not in the cards right now. So we will make do and see what we can come up with. I think I'll always be nervous that she's going to scratch through it, though. It was so terrifying when she did the first one. I was just sitting watching TV and she just nonchalantly walked out of the bedroom like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she had like blood all over her paws and it was dripping down her neck. It was awful. Oh, thank you, Patty. Where was... I think I fixed it. Let's see. I think I did it at the time, but we're going to check them all again just in case. Ding, ding, ding. No. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Those ones are good. That one's good. What about you way over here? Yeah, you're good. Good. I can't see as clearly on that multiple colored glitter. That one's good. That one's good. Yep, I think I caught it up. I think we're good, Patty. I think I caught it. Hello, Clean is Cool. That idea would work for me, Tracy, if it was a temporary injury, but that saran wrap doesn't break away easy. It could tighten and start to choke because it's wrapped around her neck. That scares me. Yeah, that scares me. And I still don't, I think I'd prefer to have her wearing a shirt as opposed to something that's actually going to attach to her fur or her skin. It's hard. I know, it's really difficult. There's no sure way right now. Was it a white ornament? I've spent the last 3 years trying everything I can think of under the sun, and I really am thinking that a custom shirt is just going to be what ends up happening. That's okay, Clean. Yeah, I think it's already caught up because I'm looking at the white ones and I don't see an empty side. Hi, Audrey. Oh, nope. It's over here. It's over here. You were right. I didn't get it. Thank you. Thank you. Good thing I went back and looked again. I would have noticed. Wouldn't have noticed until I was doing the swoops. So thank you. There we go. All right. You go back over here. I'm going to do a couple more yellow. And then we're going to sign off for tonight. So just part of this sign off, thank you guys so much. So much for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate you spending your time here with me, and I've had a great time painting with you guys tonight. Of course I remember you, Clean. Of course I do. It's good to see ya. Yeah, I think for a temporary injury that would 100% work. 100%, but because it's so permanent, that makes me nervous. We have a wooded yard and they always come in with scrapes. Poor guys. Yeah, that would be hard on the legs, eh? And dogs' legs bleed. Holy crap. Crazy how much dogs' legs bleed. I'm holding my breath while I'm working on this one. This is always the tough part, is when it goes over the edge here. Because it always causes things to be a little jagged. Yeah, she'll be fine. She's okay. She's living an okay life. Like, she's doing all right. Like, is there any way I can enhance it a little bit more? Hi, Booger. How you doing? Hi, Sleepy. Hi. How you doing? Okay, well, Audrey and I are going to say goodnight. Oh, I'm going to do one more yellow swoop on this one. And then Audrey and I are going to say goodnight. And hopefully we'll get to hang out with you again soon. I'll be on Instagram tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m. And then on Sunday, I'll put up my schedule for next week. I go live about 8 hours a week, so keep an eye on that schedule. I will pin it to the top of my profile here on TikTok. And it also goes into my highlights on my Instagram as well. And if you have any questions about my YouTube, my downloadable patterns, or are interested in buying any of the hand-painted things that I have on my website, all of those links are in my bio. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming and spending so much time with me. And please take care of yourselves, and I'll look forward to hanging out with you again really, really soon. Thanks, Cal. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Jan. Good night. Good night, Marilyn. Good night, Patty. Night, Kim. Night, Clean is Cool. Night, Tracy. Bye, guys. Night, Sue. Mwah, mwah, mwah. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.